Hello and welcome. My name is Seraphima Marie. I'm your big sis through your Saturn return and beyond, helping you embody your highest self through any transformation and transition in life. Today, we're going to be looking at and reading tarot and channeling around the summer solstice on June 21st, 2025, which is going to be a solstice in Cancer. So, you want to join me now in lighting a candle and focusing your intention for the space. I welcome you to call your ancestors and guides as I call mine. We call upon the earth, the mother, the north, east, south, and west winds to protect and call power into this space. I call upon all my angels, my ancestors, my guides that seek to serve the greatest and highest good of all and harm to none. Dragons, light beings, mantis people, blue people, natural beings, the Lemurian element, you are welcome in this space to ground this time and energy as we read these cards and interpret these astrological signs for our benefit. You are not lost, you are right on time, you are not broken, you are a weaver, an individual who heals wounds and grounds and metabolizes alchemy through ancestral lineage activation. You've come a long way to meet the sacred hearth, to know deep in your bones what your stars and origin are. Come to this place in time to share your seed and spread your art. Thank you for joining me here. So, just to kind of go over what is exactly been happening as far as the portal between that the 11th, June 11th, which was the Sagittarius full moon, the super full moon is a strawberry moon. June 13th, which was Friday the 13th, and then June 21st, which is today. And so what we're looking at is a portal of really emblazoning, revitalizing, becoming extremely clear, having tremendous clarity, a catalytic reveal of what your dreams are, what you truly desire, what your vision is, and releasing anything that doesn't serve that. And that was represented by Jupiter in Cancer and Moon in Sagittarius. And as we moved into the 13th, it essentially became an integration and a grounding commitment of, are you ready to live the life that is required to be embodied for this new dream to come into reality? Ready to anchor in those codes that have been offered to you. That was occurring and focused on by the moon in Capricorn, but also the different squares and juxtapositions between Neptune, Mars, Uranus, and Jupiter. And what that all was saying is it's going to take some effort, it's going to take some work, it's going to take some structure and some devotion and ritual to really show up in this space of divine manifestation and make room for what is coming in by showing up in commitment. This is a sacred test and a cosmic pivot to this point now, the summer solstice, which is a new season, a new opening, a new opportunity for soul nourishment and seeding of your embodiment, the vision that you've called forth. And this is all being supported by the transits of the sun in Cancer. So again, this very nourishing water, maternal energy that's coming in here through all transits. And then Mars in Virgo, which is saying, how are we going to take action to take care of ourselves and to heal and nourish ourselves so that we can show up in these structures? This is a divine consecration of the dream that you desire to call in. This is an opportunity for you to come home to your heart, rewrite the roots of your story, and the truth. Come home to the truth of your rhythm. Come home to your heart, rewrite the roots, and turn to the truth of your rhythm. Tune yourself to the truth of your rhythm. So today we've got 4 decks here. We might use all of them, we might use only a couple of them, but right now I'm really feeling called to get this spells deck out. So this is more of an oracle deck, but I find it's really potent and powerful in the way that we're able to focus the reading by looking at oracle cards, looking at what is the theme of what we're seeing to put across all these different kinds of cards. So this is all different kind of recommendations for spell work, working with deities. I really love this deck, and I've recently reconnected with it. I shuffle my cards, knock my cards 3 times. 3 times 3 times 3 is 9, which is the number of sovereignty, the number of completion before moving to 10, which is essentially the 1 and 0 in numerology, which offers an opportunity for you to have closure, but also to start again. So it's an ending and a beginning at the same time. And I think that that's what this is. This moment in time is an ending and a beginning. It's an ending of old ways of being that no longer serve us, and a stepping into of this full embodiment of something that for a lot of us, I believe, have been working on for the last 5 years and beyond. I know for me that that's certainly the case. Spirit, what do you want the collective to know right now for this solstice, to transition and integrate what they've learned through this last week's transition with the most and greatest ease? Last 10 days transition and transit. Let's see. So we have the Divine Spirit. So the Divine Spirit says, magical tools are aids for harnessing energy, but without intention and Divine Spirit, they are powerless. How does Spirit appear and manifest in your life? Your connection and devotion to divinity is more powerful than all of the esoteric tools and techniques in the world. When do you feel most intuitive? Is there a goddess, ancestor, or a spirit who habitually appears in your dreams? During the full moon, explore how your spiritual path has developed over time, from childhood to present day, taking note of moments when you felt tested by the universe and magical possibilities felt out of reach. How did you connect to divine spirit and renew your soul magic? This is what I like to call the red thread, the K, the constant propelling force, the spiritual energy that has been a theme throughout your life, a reoccurring theme that allows you, no matter what the circumstances are, to come back to your magic, come home to your body, find your rhythm, tune into your roots, the origin of who you are. And I believe that these gifts, this ability to connect, is largely associated with your ancestral lineage, the people that have come before you and how they have interacted with spirit and how they communicate with you directly. So I think this is such an interesting card, such a pivotal card, poignant card for us to work with right now. Which deck, Spirit? This deck or this deck? 1 or 2? 2? So I now have the Adventurous Tarot, the Empress deck. And with this deck, it's got a lot of additional cards to play some other, to basically use them in some other mentalities. So I'm feeling called essentially to only use half the deck. I'm going to use only the top half of the deck because there's a lot of repeats and duplicates. Spirit, what do you want the collective to know for to best integrate the lesson of rewriting their story, of rooting into their lineage and seeing what their next highest, knowing with clarity what their next highest alternate reality is? So we have the Four of Aberrations. Is there any other cards that want to come out here? Yes or no? No? I'm going to clarify that by the Four of the Humanoids. Let's see, I'll show you guys this. And this deck isn't traditional tarot, but I still utilize similar symbolisms and numerology to interpret them, because the guide here is more loosely interpreted. Spirit, what do you want us to know about this? What are these cards trying to say in this reading? So 4 here is about building. 4 always comes back to having a solid foundation that you've worked towards by finding inspiration, calling it in, and knowing how your desires are met by yourself and where divine union comes in. 3, reaching out to community and expressing your desire. And 4, basically bring that together into manifest reality. And I look at the aberrations and the humanoids. Essentially, it's what is a distortion? What is an illusion that is being dissolved? What are we being called to deepen about our humanity? How are we being asked to root into our human experience and see the beauty in all aspects of it, even that which feels as though it's contrast or conflict? What about struggle and suffering and contrast allows you to even more clearly hear the divine? How does this show you your desires with the most clarity, the most potency, and allow you to make those what would have been potentially hard choices in the past easily, with such ease, such surrender, because the alternative is not an option anymore? What desire is all you have left? What is being asked for you to come to Spirit in prayer and supplication and say, I need your help with this. I'm not sure how this is going to turn out, but I know that this is the way. This is the Starlight Garden Tarot. It's one of my most recent gifts. I love it so much. It's from my partner. This is a traditional Smith Rider-Waite tarot. So here, what can you clarify here about this experience? What does the collective need to know? It's interesting here that actually the Five of Cups is upright. Let's see here. Some of this is not shuffled properly. Okay, let's try this again. So here, what information, clarity, guidance can you offer to further integrate and embody? What can you do to seed the embodiment? Nourish our soul and our deepest desires. What do we need to know in order to continue down this path? What can we let go of? What illusions can we let go of? What about our humanity can we anchor into? How can we understand that we are multidimensional ancient beings that seek to serve the consciousness by rooting our artistic expression? And what I have here is the Eight of Swords clarified by the Six of Swords. So again, there's a situation here that you know how to get yourself out of. You see the path, and it's really about allowing the ego to be shed, allowing the shadow, you've done a lot of shadow work, but really taking action on that shadow work, really holding space for contrast, holding space for situations that might be uncomfortable, might be polarizing, might seem paradoxical, and knowing and trusting that it's not about the logic, feeling into that in your bones, that it's not about the logic, it's about the nourishment and the wisdom. It's information versus wisdom. Wisdom is something that comes from deep knowing, not from regurgitation of other people's observations and experiences. And it's saying that by doing this, by taking the blindfold off and seeing the situation clearly and stepping out of it, you're going to go on join a boat, take a journey, get on a new path that takes you to more ease, right? It seems as though it might be going backwards to go from the 8 to the 6, but in reality it's a reset. It's allowing you to take a new path, to float on your way to an alternate reality that brings more ease. I think it's interesting here also because in the traditional tarot, there's multiple people in this boat. And in this, there's only one person in this boat. And so I think that this journey is really something that comes from the journey with self, the journey that you take that no one else can go with you on. Is there something else you'd like for us to clarify, Spirit? This journey is going to be different for everyone. I really just wanted to say how much gratitude. Justice reverse. That's what I keep getting. All right, that's going to come out of the deck immediately because. So essentially, I need to get a drink of water. I'm starting to feel a lot of tension in my throat chakra. There's something that needs to be said. It's something that maybe you've been avoiding even saying to yourself. Spirit, what guidance can you give us about this? What clarity, insight, intuition, guidance can you give this collective around the solstice in Cancer, the solar solstice, summer solstice in Cancer? How can you help them integrate? How can you help them? Let's see. Okay, so upright reverse, upright reverse. Okay, so we've got the Knight of Swords here, and we've got the Seven of Wands. Spirit, what is this trying to say? There's a lot of swords energy. There's a lot of air energy here. But there's this call to bring it into the wands, bring it into action, to take steps, not just keep it internal, not just continue to ruminate and speak about it and dream about it, but to allow it to take steps, to plan that it is meant to be, and bring it forwards towards you. Meet spirit in that journey of bringing this new path into your life, aligning, realigning, revitalizing, and realigning with that purpose that you have known in your heart since you have been in the womb. That part of you that has always spoke quietly and softly, and you protected by hiding it and masking, that needs to be set free. That needs to be no longer feral and in the woods, but integrated in deep communion of love and divine self. There's an opportunity to see conflict not as though others are trying to sabotage you and you have to constantly look behind your back and defend yourself, but that they are allowing you to make clear choices with ease. It's allowing you to know deep down what is meant to happen. There's no confusion any longer. Thank the people that have brought suffering. Thank the people who have brought contrast and conflict to you, because they have taught you what you are no longer open to. They have taught you with more clarity what your standard of living is. The Knight of Swords is to say it's no longer about fighting, but holding your boundaries. There's an opportunity here for you no longer to feel as though you have to go to war in order to have peace. Feeling called to get one more of these spirit cards here. Do I need to shuffle, spirit? No? Okay. What do you want us to know? One more card, spirit. One card to round this off, to integrate this message more fully around the sacred mission that has been tested and tried, and now we're ready to step into that with full confidence and clarity of our purpose. I don't usually grab with my right hand, so there's something about taking it and just running with it. So what we have here is water. Just the one thing we're actually missing. We don't have any water spirits here, any water energy in these cards. So water is here. Water. Water. An indication for water to be used when calling in the elements during a circle of summoning the magic of the tides. Face the west direction of your circle. Use a compass for assistance. Hold your athame and recite the following. Mary meet west, element of water. With your waves we welcome change and healing, and ask for your cleansing renewal in our rites. So mote it be. Ashe. So mote it be. Your cleansing waves. We welcome change, cleansing renewal in our rites. And we close the circle with Mary part west. We thank you for guiding, teaching, and illuminating our rites. What is asking to be cleansed? What is asking to be purified, to be healed, to be tended to and nourished? That's been isolated and ostracized and made feral for far too long. What story hasn't been safe to tell, but is now safe? Thank you for sharing the space and time with me. I welcome you to join me in sacred communion, to explore your divine essence, to come into understanding of your divine, unique, energetic signature, and how that is best served in your expression now in this lifetime to create unlimited artistic legacy. Soma in the Stars is the place where the weary weavers come together to join in communion and gather strength as we tend to these wounds and unravel the packing of shadow. Thank you so much for joining me in this space. Feel free to DM me to call upon spirits of our energy today as you go forth. But I wish you well, and I depart with you as this evening, the longest day of the year, comes to an end. Thank you for sharing sacred space with me. I love you. Stay rooted in your divine. Rise to your calling and be radiant. I love you.